September is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, a time to address the sensitive issues of suicide with care and compassion. In our last episode, we focused on how to help children who have been touched by suicide in the family. Today, we are touching on the understanding of how emotions and thought patterns can lead to suicidal ideation. So, Dixie Ann, what is our quote for this week?
Well, our quote to inspire thought for this week is from Tiffany De Bartolo. She's an American novelist, filmmaker, and co-founder of the independent record label Bright Antenna, and co-founder of the Shine Maker Foundation. Her quote is, "Did you really want to die? No one commits suicide because they want to die. Then why do they do it? Because they want to stop the pain."
They want to stop the pain. This quote deeply resonates with the complex emotions that can lead to thoughts of suicide. It reminds us that those who consider this path are often seeking relief from overwhelming emotional pain. We have all heard about the need to manage our emotions, but it is this next segment we will explore the concept that emotions are meant to be felt and instead our thoughts must be managed.
Absolutely. Now, the biochemistry of emotion is fascinating. According to science, emotions naturally move through the body in about 90 seconds. However, many people find this hard to believe because they experience these painful feelings for much longer than that. Now, our show's producer, Angela Lee, offers a clear explanation for this. Our minds tend to dwell on situations that we find unfair or unpleasant, which keeps the emotions alive by triggering them repeatedly. When we have thoughts like, this isn't fair, he did that to me, I don't want to feel this way, we're just feeding the emotional cycle by going through that story again and again. These thoughts don't allow the feelings to pass. So we're feeding that emotional cycle and we're forcing the body to recycle those feelings over and over again. The key to breaking this cycle lies in learning how to disengage the mind from your story of what happened and focus solely on the emotion itself. I've done this myself and I love this practice. So Angela advocates a technique known as focused attention on the feeling. And this involves consciously noticing how the emotion manifests in your body, where you feel it, what sensations arise, and then naming the feeling without judgment. So rather than resisting or analyzing, you just allow yourself to fully experience it. And when you do this, the emotion tends to flow through and dissipate within minutes. But here's the catch. Once the mind returns to dwelling on the circumstances, that emotion can be reignited and that restarts the whole cycle again. So again, Angela emphasizes that thought management over emotional management is the key here. So it's natural to feel emotions, we know that, but we prolong our suffering when we get stuck in that mental loop about the situation. Vera, your thoughts?
Yes, well, again, thoughts become things, and we are what we think about. So, those thought patterns that focus on blame and anger and resentment keep painful emotions alive long after they could have naturally dissipated.
A very special guest today, Sherry James, PMP. Sherry is a keynote speaker, author, and mentor, and Chief Experience Officer at Phoenix Speaks Incorporated. Ms. James created the nonprofit 2020 Lives Changed Inc. to touch 2020 lives by facilitating difficult conversations regarding mental health and suicide prevention. Welcome, Sherry.
Yes, we are so glad you're here, Sherry. And can you share about your journey and what inspired you to become a suicide prevention advocate?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. And I'm excited to talk about a paradigm shift. And I'll talk about that in my journey. I struggled with even having the conversation with anyone in my life about the fact that I lost both my father and my mother to suicide. So I chose not to discuss it for the entirety of my life. I went on to work in corporate America, amazing positions for large companies, and I just focused on that. So from the trauma that I experienced as a child, I took that into the boardroom. I took that into the leadership of the teams and the people that I managed. And then I realized that I hadn't dealt with my trauma. I just packed it away. And so my divorce is what prompted my first visit to therapy to talk about just me. And I was upset because I wanted my therapist to just talk about my husband and what he was doing wrong. I didn't want to talk about my childhood. No, we don't want to discuss that. There was so much trauma and pain there. And so over time, I started working on myself and healing my trauma. And I realized that it was very difficult for others to effectively articulate emotions other than anger and happiness. And because of Brene Brown's work and like the Atlas of the Heart, she talks about there's a myriad of emotions. But when you send kindergartners home from school, they have a piece of paper with a happy face,
Smile
and
thing.
a frowny face, with nothing in the middle. And so I created a curriculum to try to be proactive so that children had better words to express their emotions, good or bad, or everything in the middle. Hopefully to give that that proactive approach to suicidal ideation.
Beautiful. So, Sherry, how do intense emotions like hopelessness or shame contribute to suicidal thoughts in children?
Well, so there's a couple of things, right? So I want to mention emotions, what causes the emotion. So, and when you do proactive work, you're looking at what the why, what's the root, right? So I look at things like the information that children are consuming via social media, via even just their work. Schoolwork. I have a 35-year-old child. My daughter lives in California, and then my son is 17. But the thing that I see consistently across those generations is this: social media tells them how to feel and they express to them, or even as parents we do it. Hey, come together, smile. We're feigning happiness, right? We're teaching
Right.
children to
Yes.
pretend to be happy when they're not. And so I think there's some epigenetics, there's statements that show why this happens. But the emotions are the thing we have the most control over. We can feel our feelings, identify and ask those questions. Hey, what you said just felt like what I would consider a mental wealth withdrawal. That's what we teach is, financial vernacular. Yeah, right. And so we teach them about managing money and also about managing their mental health. We do it at the same time because that is how they can express their emotions. They don't need to know a name of it. They can just say, I'm feeling something that feels like a mental wealth withdrawal. I'm not sure what it is, but because we've discussed our mental wealth deposits, can we deposit some things? Because I'm feeling a little empty right now. That takes the stigma away from it. It's a conversation we can have proactively. And more importantly, we can use things like, hey, good morning. I woke up this morning feeling like $1,000,000. How are you feeling? And so my children understand, and they're like, today I feel like $10. Like today's a $10 day.
I'm 2 cents today.
I'm feeling bankrupt emotionally, right? And so these kind of conversations can teach two things, but that one thing is the most important. Talk about it, about all the feelings, not just the negative ones.